Welcome back, Attack, and today we're going to be talking about 2016's best MMORPGs. These are going to be the new MMO games that we get to experience, at least in the West. Yeah, some of these games are going to be localized titles, but for the most part, these are going to be entirely new MMOs, so get hyped for that, and these are going to be the games that we are almost certain will actually launch in 2016. But with that in mind, let's go ahead, jump right into it, starting at number 10. Starting on our list, we have Tree of Savior, which kind of looks like Ragnarok Online, maybe a little bit to you. Yeah, well, that's because the father of Ragnarok Online, IQ Kim, actually is making this game, so it is very much a spiritual successor. It is a top-down action RPG style MMORPG, but don't worry, it is very much online, open world, and very social. A lot of the combat is incredibly mechanical and strategic and tactical, and it just feels really good playing the game and living in this world. This art style, just look at it. Makes your eyeballs feel really good, at least for me. So if you like this kind of art style, then I think me and you could be friends. And also, we'll probably have some fun playing Tree of Savior. Now, coming in at number 9, we have H1Z1, which has been in development for quite a while, I'll admit it, yeah, and it probably could actually come out in 2018, 20, forever, never. H1Z1 has really been taking a long time, but Daybreak Games have been working pretty hard on H1Z1, and it's looking pretty good. Now, I know it has mixed reviews, but that's mainly because it is a buy-to-play title currently in early access. It costs like $20 to get in, but I believe as a free-to-play game, it's absolutely going to blow the competition away, and it is overall a pretty good game and a very enriching experience if you've never played the genre, so whenever it does drop as free to play, get hype, and that's why it's our number 9. Now at number 8, we have The Division. Now this game probably could be our number 1, honestly, but it's one game that it just seems like it's probably going to fail. Let's be honest, the history of Ubisoft, the history of console MMOs, it's just, there's all sorts of awkwardness surrounding it. Like, I mean, we all want to be super excited for it. It could be freaking amazing, a third-person shooter, tactical, survival thing with a story, and I don't, honestly, actually, the game is incredibly vague. A lot of the mechanics we're not entirely sure about, and what we do know will be in the game, we don't know what quality it will be in the game. You guys know what I'm talking about. You remember Destiny. Anyways, so The Division, it could be freaking great. It made it on this list, but let's keep some reserves, guys. The Division, it's number 8. Coming in at number 7, we have Camelot Unchained. And yes, this is from the maker of Dark Age of Camelot, and you can expect similar gameplay, except pretty much everything just done a little bit better. It's completely focused on realm PvP, as in it's going to be faction versus faction versus faction, which was kind of like upstarted by Dark Age of Camelot, and hopefully Camelot Unchained is going to perfect it. Now, there are a couple of other titles out there right now that are currently doing the whole 3-faction PvP, epicosity, but Camelot is the game that has the most amount of potential. It's got the history, and it's made from the same person who made that history. It's only at number 7 because we haven't seen too much of the game yet, but it has a huge amount of assets and love behind it. So for the niche that it's aiming for, I think it's gonna blow everything else out of the water. Look forward to Camelot Unchained. And at number 6, we have EverQuest Next. This is going to be another Daybreak Games title that we're a tiny bit iffy on if it's actually going to come out this year. Now, most of these games, absolutely, they certainly are going to come out, but EverQuest Next and H1Z1, they're just like a little bit flimsy with their release dates and stuff like that, but it's got to come out this year. If they wait any longer, it's just going to be awkward, and honestly, we've got nothing else that fills the slot. But EverQuest Next looks super hype, and they have announced that they have taken everything from EverQuest Landmark, all the team, all the finances, all the financial push, and they're bringing that over to EverQuest Next. They want to get this game developed, they want to get this game out there so people can enjoy it and have fun with it, and I honestly want to take their word for it. I want to take the hype, I want to take everything that I've seen, I want to just believe it as truth, and we're just going to say EverQuest Next is going to be a great game, but because there is that little bit of uncertainty, it's at number 6. And halfway on our list, we have Albion Online. Now, why did it make number 5? Well, because I'm incredibly hyped about it. I don't know if you guys have seen our channel recently this past year, but we actually covered Albion Online a couple of times. Albion Online is a great game. You can play on your mobile devices. You can play on your desktop. It is a hardcore sandbox PvP-focused, almost like entirely PvP game that looks really cartoony, and it looks like it actually would appeal to casual players, but at the same time still completely focusing mechanically on hardcore aspects, anti-Care Bear gameplay. Even though it's not as hardcore as some other hardcore sandbox MMORPG. I think it has the perfect middle ground. And if you're worried if it's going to run on your mobile devices or not, well, it probably will. It's very much being created just for your mobile devices. I know I play on my NVIDIA Shield, and it runs fantastic, let alone if you're going to play this on your desktop. They did recently announce that it's going to be buy-to-play, maybe free-to-play later on, so that's one reason why to kill the hype. But in the end, what I've played with Albion Online just has me too excited to take it off this list. A good mobile MMO is really hard to come by, let alone one that actually looks good even if it was just a desktop MMO. So that's why Albion Online is going to be number 5. Alright guys, our number 4 title is Blade and Soul. A lot of MOBA people are playing this game, and you wanna know why? It's because it's actually kind of like really fun as a PvP game. So yeah, kind of like not as an RPG or as an MMO, but like just jumping into the arenas and playing it like a fighting game. It's actually a lot of fun. And then translate those mechanics into the actual like RPG and the MMO aspect, you know, running around, well actually like kind of like kung fu flying around. It's ridiculous, man. Blade and Soul is a gorgeous game, even though it's actually pretty dated. It's just now being localized to Western audiences, but wow, it still looks freaking good, and it plays really well too. Elements of the UI elements and some game design philosophy is a little bit dated, but seriously, we have no other game that's really up to this quality, despite its age, and in this genre. So yeah, as soon as Blade and Soul hits, you can bet your blade that I'm going to be playing it. Hopefully you'll be too, and that's why it's at number 4. Okay, at number 3, we have a game called Crowfall, and I'm gonna be honest, I can really only describe this game with sort of like metaphors, okay? It's almost as if you took Game of Thrones and then like mixed it with World of Warcraft. But then at the same time, you take something like League of Legends and then also kind of throw it in there, and then a little bit of Minecraft too. Like seriously, this game just seems like an amalgamation of all these different very grand ideas, but it seems like it's really solidifying them, and it's gonna create a game that has a unique sort of gameplay and a unique look and game feel than any other MMO could possibly potentially make. So yeah, you got voxel destruction, you've got different separate campaigns to where it's essentially PvE VP, so it's like 2 guilds fight a certain campaign against each other while there's like PvE involved, and I don't know, all sorts of ridiculous stuff. And at the same time, even though I do believe there are some instances with the campaigns, it is still a player-driven economy because you still need to get the resources from these campaigns to build up your guild bases and guild islands and stuff. Like there's just a lot of weirdness, and mechanically it's gonna play kind of like a MOBA. Instead of having normal classes, you actually have character kits or character archetypes. Essentially, you know, in all intents and purposes, they're characters. So you're gonna have some really weird and diverse gameplay with all these different characters versus sort of the cookie cutter classes that we're used to in games like World of Warcraft. But it could work, it might not, it has yet to be seen, but a lot of hype. And that's why Crowfall is number 3. And at number 2, we have a game that's really close to my heart. I haven't actually played it, but it's just a game that has just filled me with so much awe, and probably you too. There's so much hype at this game. I think it will live up to it. I think it's just gonna take a little bit longer than expected. You know, the release date is 2016. You can go Google that yourself, but Star Citizen just doesn't seem to be like it's fitting together quite properly in time. Now, I think the modules that they've released so far with the alphas look really good, and I think even if it does release in 2016, I think it's gonna be a good game, maybe even a great game, but I don't think that it's gonna be the entire experience that we've been promised in 2016. I think there's going to be updates later on that's actually going to give us everything that we want out of this game. In 2016, yeah, I think it's just going to be a good game. That's why it's not number 1. I think it will be probably the best game later on, maybe the best game of our generation of all time. Who freaking knows? Infinite potential. But in the year 2016, even if they technically consider it released, I don't think it's going to be the game that it's trying to be just yet. It's taken a little bit to develop, but I do believe it's on its way. And for that reason, it's at number 2. And our number 1 for our best MMORPG for 2016, it's gotta be Black Desert. This year has been so full of just hype, right? Games that we have no idea what they're actually gonna be like. We have never touched them, but for me, I've actually played Black Desert. All of you guys probably have played it too. It's a really freaking awesome game. It's really fun, and yes, it has already been released in other territories, but now it's coming to the Western territories as a buy-to-play game so that it's more fair. And in a PvP-focused open-world game, you would want it to be as fair as possible, and that's what Black Desert is. No, there's not going to be any raiding or dungeons. Maybe that might come later on. This is a sandbox PvP game that's where you got to focus on the economy, on grinding, and it's got a whole lot of math-based content and management going on, even though there's a huge amount of action, which I really appreciate. It focuses on all the core MMO aspects, other than, I guess, all the pretty content or the spoon-fed content that we're kind of used to in games like World of Warcraft or WildStar or even Guild Wars 2. It's not a theme park, but at the same time, it looks like such fun. It's a sandbox in the truest sense, I believe, but at the same time, it also gives us a lot of tools to play play within the sandbox. Character customization is freaking amazing. The game also looks good. It's incredibly well optimized. It's going to run on your laptop. Whenever you talk to NPCs, you actually have to learn about the world and discuss things with them so that you can get more quests and buy things from them. And then there's so much more with the mechanics of the game. The combat is so explosive and big, and how everything looks. And then I could go on and on and on about Black Desert. And basically, for every point why I would like any other MMO, Black Desert has that aside from endgame rating. If that's your thing, then Black Desert isn't for you. But if you're looking for a wholly unique and new experience from what we've previously had, then yeah, Black Desert, my friend, is going to be the game that you and me and all of us hopefully have been waiting for. And luckily, I've had my hands on it, and I think it is the one. This is going to be the best MMORPG of 2016. Alright guys, that was it. That's the end of our 2016 Best MMORPGs. Now we try to pick games that we are almost 100% certain that they will launch in 2016. So there's a lot of games coming that might come in 2017, and maybe they'll actually still be playable, like, you know, in open alphas or betas this year. Maybe so. A lot of games coming from the east to the west, and they look pretty freaking good, I'll be honest. So yeah, what do you guys think? Leave in the comments below what games maybe we should have mentioned here. There are a lot of games already that are in early access, but they already got mixed reviews. We didn't want to put too many on here, but still, maybe they could turn out to be really fantastic. I would hope so. Please fight for them in the comments below. But I can say personally, for these on these top 10, I am excited. Hopefully you are too. Like, subscribe if you are. We'll definitely show you those games as they come out. We'll do first impressions and other top 10s, maybe involving other games that you might be interested in. And hopefully we'll introduce you to some games that you didn't know about, and you'll play them, and you'll have a good time, and that'll make us happy. Please come back, Attack, and we'll see you again next time. Welcome back, Attack, and today we're going to be talking about 2016's best MMORPGs. These are going to be the new MMO games that we get to experience, at least in the West. Yeah, some of these games are going to be localized titles, but for the most part, these are going to be entirely new MMOs, so get hyped for that, and these are going to be the games that we are almost certain will actually launch in 2016.